Hello guys, and before we get started on today's video, let's get today's shoutouts out the way. Today's shoutouts would be something about chicken. I recently watched this video about cake. Highly recommend you go watch it. And obviously, overly sarcastic podcast. I highly recommend you go watch their videos. Really love their red stuff. I don't really watch blue stuff, but I like red stuff. With that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, what make a good father, right? Everyone has different opinions and different views on things, from how you should treat your child to the punishment you should give them. Let's say you treat your child like a friend or someone you're close with, or should you be distant and strict? Should you whoop their butt, if they act out? Or should you be more lenient with them and try to teach them the various other ways? Well, of course you can do that after you whoop their ass, but that's besides the point. The point is, what made a good father, very subjective, but let's just go over some things that I think make a good father. One, they try to set up their kids for after they die, right? Because everyone's gonna die eventually. So by trying to set up your kids' future as best as you can and allow them to do whatever they want to do, or at least try to help them do that, it's a good father figure, right? Secondly, right? Don't manipulate them. They're not manipulative. They don't, try to brainwash you. They allow you to have your own opinions about things without being like, I am older than you, so I know better than you, right? Third thing, they can admit to their mistakes. This is something that every person can do, right? Being able to admit to your mistake and try to improve from it, whether that be from your last child to the new child, or whether it just be, my bad, I didn't know that you didn't do anything wrong, I thought you did, is a major aspect of a good father. And last but not least, being able to support your kid, right? You should be able to try to at least support your kid. Like, there are circumstances where you might not be able to support them as much as you like, but as long as you're putting the effort into and trying your best, I think you're a good father. I think my dad is a good father. That's a great example. And that's probably why I'm picking these things. I think they're aspects that he has. But that's my personal life. Far more personal than I would like to deal with myself, and I would like to put out there. Maybe later on I could, think more intrusively, but for right now I don't want to think more intrusively about my opinion about him, because everyone can have complicated feelings about everyone. I don't think I feel anything complicated, but I don't want to have to go dig into that. But let's just move on, right? But these are aspects that I would consider a good father. There are other things too that I would personally consider being a good father, especially when it comes to shows and TV shows. But for now, I think this is a general good basis. That's something that everyone can relate to and cling upon, right? Now, this is a character battle, right? Where we take the aspects of two different characters that are similar, not necessarily in power, but in what they do and what they're trying to accomplish, and we put them against each other. Sometimes we're showing how to make a good, how you should have done it, but good, and sometimes we're just putting them against each other. Now, this is one of those times where even though one of them is, in my opinion, a better father than the other, or better in the showcase than the other, they're not necessarily supposed to do the same thing. So, they're just a clash of character, right? And today characters are Batman versus Splinter. Now, for those who don't know Batman, let me give you a rundown characteristic about him. I highly doubt no one does, but I'm pretty sure some people watch it in French, because there's it says no one did, but it does say this French subtitles are being used. So I think someone watching in French, and I'm pretty sure if you are, you're Canadian, because I have nobody that watches it in French. I do have someone in the UK, so that actually might French might be a part of that, but I don't know if they include that as their own country. I don't know geographic. Okay, my bad for not knowing geographic. But let's get back to the topic of the day, right? Just in case you don't know Batman is essentially a ninja. He is a vigilante who is trying to protect Gotham City in any way that he can. There are a lot of corruption along the city, so even though he could probably help a decent amount of people, it is a point to note that he couldn't just give his money away because there is corruption in the city, and he's trying to fight and show Gotham, like, be the hero that Gotham needs, but not necessarily the one that they think they deserve. You could say. I think you could say that. But for today's aspect, here's some important things, right? He has one biological son. He has four, like there are other Robins included, but he has three adopted sons, one biological son that I know they're trying to retcon it, but technically speaking, came about in less than savory formats. And then we have other family. Important to note that he has someone who, isn't technically speaking his daughter, but kind of like a part of his family. Even though she does have a father in her life. I don't know if she's missing a mom, Barbara, to be more specific, but she does have a father. And it's important to note that he does care for these kids and try to do them best. But, he's not necessarily the best of persons. So, that's just a quick rundown of, Batman. But, I don't know if Inga guessed this, but the character you're going against is Splinter. He has 4 adopted kids, turtles. I forgot to mention Batman backstory, but you should all know it. And I'm going with just all of them together, but mostly the comic book version. But anyways, spoiler warning ahead for Splinter, right? So, he is a father of 4 kids, right? They're all turtles, and he kind of acts like a father, or more like a mentor, to April O'Neil. Depending on which version you're talking about, he actually trains her. I think in most versions he does. And he tries to do the best for who he can for his kids. A point thing to note that is different, he doesn't try to, he's not a crusader. He's not necessarily he's not a good guy. He's not a hero. He's not a crime fighter, but he doesn't mind his kids being crime fighters, but he doesn't push them towards doing it in any regards. I don't think there's any version like that. He does teach them how to defend themselves and how to be secretive and how to be a ninja. So he does teach them foreign martial arts, new martial arts. That's the point to know, right? And now let's get into the backstory. Just a general synopsis of the backstory. It can range, but the most common is that he's either already a rat that get in some way either get affected with the mutagen, or at some point get affected with the mutagen. Sometimes he witnesses his own, I think about like a type master. I don't know why I didn't just say a martial art master. He watches his owner die, and because he had the owner, he was able to copy the moves or at least memorize them. In other versions, he just learns it in a book. And then the last version, and the one that I'm going with, because I'm going to include more around the entire thing of him. But the one that I'm probably going to hone in the most with is 2012 Teen Mutant Ninja Turtles, because that's the one that I'm most familiar with, and I've seen the most of, and can remember the best of, right? But he's in that version, he's a human that just get affected with mutagen after a conversation with Shredder, a while after, but still. In which case, both of them thought they was dead. So, let's talk about it. And let me just say this: Batman does probably be a good father. He's not terrible, and he does try to be a good person, but he's not either one, right? He does do good things, right? He's raised Dick to try to treat him to not being rageful as him. He tried to get Jason off the street and raise him to and also do the same thing with Rage. Tim Drake is a lot weirder because depending on which version you go into, he's either got there because, like in the comic book, he originally became a Robin, not because he wanted to or like Batman adopted him, but because Batman needed a Robin after y'all, the DC fan base decided to kill off Jason Todd. Did I say his name wrong? Then lastly, lastly, they're Damian. Damian Wayne is the weirdest one, and I think that's the biggest instincts of a failure of his as a parent. From like as you can see, right? But his goal is to try to make him, more human and try to teach him the errors in his, parents' ways or his assassin ways, and try to help him accommodate to people. Now, a lot of these scenarios I would like to admit that they're really different from Splinter. First of all, he's at a there are similarities between them, right? First of all, 4 kids. There are probably you can probably name others, but they have 4 main kids. They're all not, outside one for Batman, they're all not related to him. But the important difference to know is that one, most of the Batman adoptions are a reaction to something, like, trying to help them to begin with. While Splinter was just trying to take care of the Turtles to begin with because he was there. I think in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 12, like, he brought the Turtles. And that's the reason why he was trying to take care of them. Like, he was already gone to it already, but, then they got mutated. But, it just depends on the version. But generally speaking, he also raised them from birth all at the same time, right? First Batman, which is just over years. So, let me explain, right? Let me give an example. Batman has an example of him being a good guy. Most of them referring back to Bat Family. If you haven't seen that comic, a really good series, make them more humane and more entertaining versus a dark and gruesome story. But he does do good things, like try to help them get off the streets. He helped fund them and like give them a place to live for some parts. And he generally tried to be out there and help for him. But Batman isn't the best because he does a lot more harm, in my opinion, than he does good. First of all, let's talk about how he manipulates his kids, right? He pretty much indoctrinated them into his own crusade. While some of them, like Tim Drake, wanted to be Robin anyways. Some of them, like Dick Grayson, he became Robin because of Batman. Like, he put him in there. Well, some of them have their own choice with it. It's important to note that he's the one who introduced him into it. And not all of them have good things that happen because of their introduction into, being Robin. Like, take for instance, both both Damian Wayne and Jason Todd have died at the hands of villains. Tim Drake, oh my god, Damian Wayne, it's a D's. Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, it's because of the D. But oh my goodness, Damian Wayne got killed by the hands of his clone, which technically speaking killed him because of his mother. Jason Todd, very hood, he got killed by the Joker. But that's not the only bad thing that he done. He had fought his entire family for them, even though it was in a roundabout method. They were trying to help the city, and he just fought the entire family. And the main reason I want to make this video is because he used a Tsar Bomba, I think that's the way you pronounce it, program to brainwash Jason Todd to be unable to act violence. And that is not a good thing to do. But there are other occasions where he's, not good as a father. Once again, outside the entire Robin situation. He constantly trying to not necessarily belittle him, but, he called Jason a failure, right? He doesn't like the fact that he used guns, despite, him not trying to kill people anymore. He doesn't use guns anymore. But, like, he doesn't like the fact that he used a gun, despite that being hypocritical. And part of the reason why he does is because, he did die to a criminal, and he has let down many people before. Like, I'm not talking about, let's ignore his Batman career, because there's a lot of things that he does as Batman that are questionable. But, he Sorry, the light turned off. What was I saying? The light turned off and I got distracted. Give me a second. I think I remember the point I was saying. Yeah. But he's essentially like calls him a failure on a lot of occasions. Like, I'm your great. Granted, they both do it and shit, but one of them is definitely more like I felt from your perspective, and one of them like I felt in raising you, which I can't understand fathers saying that, but I personally don't think I will ever say I felt in raising him, but like I did not do the best job of raising him. I did the best I could. But he essentially is calling him a failure to his face. A lot of times. Anyway, like he does it like to himself too. But there's a lot of times around like you are my biggest failure. But then I think that Damian Wayne is also Dick Grayson is a great showcase because yes though like you can tell by in the I don't know what the comic book is, but canonical to the animated series, he did it with Barbara Gordon, who was his Dick Grayson ex. I do know that Jason Todd did like Barbara in the comic book, 3 Jokers or the Joker War, not the Joker War, 3 Jokers. But I feel like that's a little bit different considering the fact that it's not his father doing it, and also because it's not like he was adult while she was a teenager and knew her. So I don't get to call a question that, which is already something question that you can actually point out, and I probably will. But Damian Wayne is probably the worst treated, not the worst treated, right? But like a great showcase because first of all, I did not want Damian's like despite being an own child, which I can understand, right? But at the same time, like come on. You brought in multiple like Jason Todd was literally stealing the wheels of your mobile. He was a full criminal. You brought a full criminal to your house. But I can understand the reason why he wouldn't want to have his biological son there because he did not just fully did not consent to it. Outside of the redone. The redone probably make that scene a lot worse where he doesn't really want his son because if you do it with the retcon version. It was actually consensual, which means that he just didn't want a son that he, made. So that's not the best. But also, I think you can showcase like how he treats how he treats Damian Wayne in other versions. Like take for instance, he essentially treated him like a complete killer just because he killed Dick Grayson, which yes he did kill him. Yes, he was siding with Superman, but that does make sense because it's growing up over it. Like he grew up with the League of Assassins, so it makes sense that he would. But I understand, agree with him, and also a lot of other Bat family members kind of agree with him. Like not the no kill rule, but like maybe we should kill some people, right? Most famously, Damian Wayne and Jason Todd, like the two were like, we should probably kill people, or some people. But that's besides the point. But in that version, is like he literally completely abandons him, pretty much because he accidentally kills Dick Grayson, which isn't the best thing to do. Now, before I get into why, like examples of just why, not even example of just why Splinter is a bad person, I would like to give Batman some credit because even though the Turtles have been a long running thing for a while now, I don't know if they have like an actual long running comic books. Like that are really continually coming out monthly. So, I would like to say that being Batman in at least within the comic books, he has like it is like okay, they different people that implemented like a very long history that you can point to. It's a lot that can happen because of the comic book, and more importantly, a long running one where it's like it doesn't have to end, which is like one of the problems is. When it comes to judging Batman actions, because a lot of things he does, sucks, but at the same time, because in the comic book, you have to. This is a problem, right? But like, sometimes because of the comic book, you have to be like, okay, the reason why they didn't happen because, they quite literally could not let it happen. Like, take for instance, why doesn't Red Hood kill the Joker? Not because Batman won't let him, but probably because they quite literally won't let him. Like they literally showcase him shooting the one version of the Joker in the head, which they kind of retcon I think they just retconned it, but that's, I don't know. It's weird. Comic books are weird. But he literally shouldn't before. So they are willing to let him kill him and hit, I don't know about it, find out. But Batman, does know that he did kill one Joker. So it's not like they're not willing to. It's just that they quite literally can't. So I like to, like, they have to make drama, and of course there are better ways he could do it. Like from what I heard, the current Nightwing line is really good. But that's a different character. The point is, I would like to just say he gets some grain of salt, like some benefits because she's in a comic book that's very long running. But let's ignore that because we're comparing the character, and that's not a complete defense. Because that's some of it's terrible writing, some it's not terrible writing, but some it's not a complete defense. The point that I'm trying to get at. But I'd like to once again hammer home this point as a transition in something. In some version, right? Batman did it with Barbara Gordon, who is the daughter of his I wouldn't say best friend, but one of his friends and colleagues who he works with, depending on which continuity you go with, girlfriend of his son. And if you really want to push it, you can say that another one of his sons liked her, right? But who never flirted? Also, he knew her since she was a kid. Who never did that with someone who have a similar characteristic? Splinter. He never tried to flirt with April O'Neil or anything like that, right? He's very responsible. Now let me explain why Splinter is a better father. First of all, he treats kids generally better. First of all, he did not force them to crime fight, didn't indoctrinate them, anything like that. And he lets them do their own thing and have their own views on things. In particular, if they was to let a criminal free, he might question them and like, hey, is this what you wanted to do? But he wouldn't be like, shame on you. I think a great instance of this is when Spike, Raphael Turtle, get mutated. He doesn't shame Raphael for that, or shame Raphael for what happened because of it. He's like, you know what happened. I'm not here to shame you. I'm not here to tell you I'm disappointed you. I'm here to say you did the best you could in that situation and help you get through your emotions. He's very more emotional and less distant than Batman, which allowed him to have a deeper connection, while also being able to teach them better lessons and more accurately help them through their problem. Like, take for instance, Raphael's anger issue is something that he can control a lot because of Splinter and also the things that he go through in life. But Splinter actually helped hone his stuff without needing him to go crime fight in order to do it. And also he successfully did it. Something that take in mind, right? Because Batman doesn't successfully, make Jason Todd less angry or less, violent. He does it with Dick, but not Damian. Not Damian. Also, not Damian either. He still uses a sword, and on the reason that his version of Titan fell apart is because I don't know if he killed someone or nearly killed someone. But he's not, he hasn't been able to redo or like help Damian the way he wanted to, or Jason, right? Well, even though he's also been raising them all at one time, so that's a big problem. But the point is, Raphael in most versions successfully can control his anger in a good format, especially when need be. While yes, in occasion where they're like at their house, like, I'm gonna punch you until you pass out. In a fight, he can actually use that anger to his advantage. He's also very all the turtles, when they make a mistake, they can actually look back and really view and understand it. While yes, they're brothers, so sometimes they fight. They can also generally talk to each other and can also criticize their father and argue with their father without him brainwashing them. He will yes, I can see your point of view, but he ever consider that that is still very irresponsible of you. You did try something, but that was still very irresponsible of you, and I will acknowledge that. I can understand why you did what you did, but it doesn't make you less irresponsible. I think another occasion that you can see this, like where he's more lenient and also more like can actually connect to his son in a better way, is when Raphael in the first movie, live action movie, he loses. I want to say a side. He get angry at himself because he left evidence behind, right? But Splinter, if I remember correctly, was very lenient with him. Like, it's okay. You can make up for the mistake. Like, you can't change what you've done. It's okay, but it's your own mistake. Let's hope it doesn't lead to anything, right? Or when he fights with Lee Nile in the TMNT 2006 movie, right? He doesn't just like, ooh, I'm gonna like knock you out because you should have done it. He's lean. He like, you can apologize to your brother. I understand the rage you have built up, and I can understand your point of view, but you should apologize to him once when you get the chance. The first and most important thing we need to do is go fight him. And he also doesn't criticize him for his vigilante activities that he definitely know about. He probably knew already because Leonardo instantly was able to tell, like, okay, you're the knife washer. You look like you're just a turtle. Like, your armor is turtle. You look like turtle armor. You're Raphael. Well, Leonardo was able to instantly tell after coming back after like a year or two. Then Splinter already knew. He never really changed them for it, or any of them for their jobs that they're actually doing. He doesn't like. He has to be doing so much more with their potential. He has to be going out crime fighting. He doesn't force them to do that. He allows them to do whatever they want, as long as they're just actually good. Doing what they truly need and what they want to do to be better. So he's also a good father figure, just in general. Versus Batman, I don't think anyone would be like, I want to be a father like Batman. The main point that I went, to the conclusion of this video, before I do the shout out, once again, is that even though both of them are fathers in a similar regard, the most important thing is the fact that a lot of times Batman isn't connecting with his sons on an emotional level, which allows him to have a more distant relationship with them, and making it more skewed. And because he's more focused on his fight for justice than his personal life, it make it so that by retrospect his kids are more affected by it, as they are more attuned towards the crime fighting like than they are a regular life. Not to say they can't live one, it's just they are more attuned for that. Versus Splinter kids, where Splinter is a father who can seem distant but actually very connected to his son and try to be more open up and respected. He can tell you when you're wrong and will help you go through it, but he allows them to have room to grow for themselves. And when disagreement arrives, he doesn't brainwash them. So in my opinion, in this character battle, I give it to Splinter. But with that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you'd like to comment, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any ideas or another character you'd like me to compare, I will try to do so. But once again, today's shoutouts are Overly Sarcastic Podcast and I forgot. And something about chicken. But with that, I'll see you all next time. This should be released on today, or the day recording this.